Hi and welcome to this video. If you followed from the previous videos on the introduction to databases for Flutter, you know that Hive is one of the databases for Flutter that is written in Dart, and it is very fast and lightweight. In this video, we are going to go through some of the codes for Hive in Flutter. First, let's see some benchmarks. You can see here for reading iterations, Hive is super fast. It is as fast as shared preferences and a lot faster than SQLite. And in write iterations, Hive is faster than SQLite and shared preferences. So it is a great option if you want to have a database and store your data locally. Let's go to the code. In this application, I have the demo app that is built with the Flutter when you create a new project. In this project, I add two buttons, store and retrieve. Store basically stores the data into the database, and retrieve retrieves it from the database and shows it on the screen. First, you need to have your Hive Flutter and Hive added to the pubspec.yaml. And also I added path provider because we are going to need this one for Hive, and I added toast to show the data on the screen. After you add these dependencies, you click on pub-get, and then on the main you import toast, path provider, Hive Flutter, and Hive. Before continuing with the coding, let's go to Hive Documentation and see the structure of this database. In the documentation, it says that all data stored in Hive is organized in boxes. A box can be compared to a table in SQL database, but it does not have the structure. So Hive is No-SQL database, but you need to first open a box or create a box, and then you can read the data from the box or write the data into the box. Basically, the Hive stores data as key and value. In the read and write section, we can see that we have examples for read and for write and for delete. Hive supports all primitive data: list, map, datetime, and unit list. And when you want to store a data, you have to specify a key and then a value. It's very similar to shared preferences. So back to the code. First thing you need to do is to do some initialization. I did it in main function, but you can do this in init function as well. For Hive to store data in the database, it needs to know the path and where it can store the data. Basically, the location that it can store the data. So first we define a variable equals to await get application documents directory. This is a function that is available in path provider. It returns the path to a directory that Hive can use. So later we use this variable dot path and give this path to hive dot init flutter, and we provide the path. So with this, Hive knows where to store the data. And then, as we mentioned before, we need to open a box for Hive to access the data and to write the data into the box. You say hive dot open box and you name your box, or if we can say that it is equal to database name in SQL databases. In this case here, the box is called my box. Then I create two buttons, raised button under the counter, and then in the first one I want to store data. So on pressed, I say the box equals to hive.box and my box, which is the name of the box. Before, at the main, we opened the box, hive.openBox. Now here we just say hive.box. We access it. We don't open it. We opened it already in the main function. After we access the box, we say box.put, and then we provide the key, in this case name, and we provide the value, in this case Jackson. The key can be string, can be integer, can be float, can be a list. All the primitive data types can be used as a key. And then as a child for the button, the text is store. And then I have another button to retrieve the data. In the unpressed, again, I access the box, hive.box, and then the name of the box, in this case my box, and then I define a variable with the type string equals to box.get to get the data, and I specify the key, which is name. And then I use the toast.show and data context and the length. And then as a child, I have text for the button that says retrieve. So now if I press on store, it stores the data into the box, and if I press on retrieve, I have the Jackson retrieved as the data inside the box. That is a basic example for Hive. In this case, we hard-coded the value for the key, but you can have a text box that user enters the data into the text box and you store the text box into the Hive. There are a lot of situations that Hive is useful and is very fast, and the documentation is also very good. You can go through the documentation if you need any explanation or any examples. You can also run the examples here on the web and see the output. That's just basic introduction to Hive and the basic things you need to know. After this, you can have complex projects on Hive, but as long as you know the foundation, it's going to be easy to understand and develop an application based on Hive. That's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. I will see you in the next video.